Einstein discovered scientific proof that your soul is real. This isn't some mystical mumbo-jumbo. This isn't religion. This is physics. The same physics that powers nuclear reactors, that makes your GPS satellites work, that describes the mind-blowing behavior of black holes and the expansion of the entire universe. Albert Einstein spent decades trying to understand the fundamental nature of reality, and what he discovered has profound implications for the existence of the soul that most people have never heard. Tonight, I am going to show you what Einstein actually said about the soul, not interpretations, not assumptions, his actual words. And I'm going to explain how his most famous equation, E equals mx squared, provides the scientific foundation for believing that your soul is not only real, but indestructible. This is not what they taught you in school. This is not what most scientists will tell you, but it is what Einstein believed. And once you understand it, you will never see yourself the same way again. Let us begin with the most important thing Einstein ever said about the nature of the soul. In a letter that has been carefully preserved in the Einstein archives, he wrote something that shocked the scientific community of his time. He wrote, "Body and soul are not two different things, but only two different ways of perceiving the same thing." Read that again. Body and soul are not two different things. They are two different ways of perceiving the same thing. For thousands of years, philosophers and theologians had debated whether the soul exists separately from the body. Religions taught that the soul was immaterial, spiritual, something that could leave the body at death and continue on. Materialist scientists argued that the soul was just an illusion, that consciousness was nothing more than brain chemistry, that when the body died, everything ended. Einstein said, they were both wrong. He did not say the soul was separate from the body, and he did not say the soul was an illusion. He said the soul and body are two ways of looking at the same fundamental reality. This is a revolutionary idea. And to understand it, you need to understand what Einstein discovered about the nature of matter and energy. Before Einstein, everyone believed that matter and energy were two completely different things. Matter was solid. It had mass. You could touch it and hold it. Energy was something else entirely. Heat, light, movement. It was intangible, invisible. Einstein proved that this distinction was an illusion. In 1905, Einstein published a paper that would change everything we understood about reality. In it, he presented his famous equation, E equals mc squared. This equation tells us that energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. But what does this actually mean? It means that mass and energy are the same thing. They are two different forms of the same fundamental substance. You can convert mass into energy and energy into mass. They are interchangeable. When a nuclear bomb explodes, a tiny amount of mass is converted into an enormous amount of energy. That is E equals mc squared in action. The mass does not disappear. It transforms. It becomes energy. Consider the numbers. The speed of light is approximately 300 million meters per second. When you square that number, you get an enormous quantity. This means that even a tiny amount of mass contains a staggering amount of energy. The bomb that destroyed Hiroshima converted less than 1 gram of matter into energy, less than 1 gram, and it released enough energy to destroy an entire city. Now think about your body. You weigh, let's say, 70 kilograms. According to E equals mc squared, your body contains more energy than all the nuclear weapons on Earth combined. You are an impossibly concentrated packet of energy, temporarily appearing in the form of a human being. And here is the profound implication that Einstein understood. If mass and energy are the same thing, then everything in the universe is ultimately energy. The chair you are sitting on is energy. The air you breathe is energy. Your body is energy. Your thoughts are energy. Everything that exists is just different configurations of the same fundamental stuff. Now consider what this means, Muddy, for the soul. If your body is energy, and your consciousness is energy, and energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed, then the energy that makes you, cannot cease to exist. This is not philosophy. This is the first law of thermodynamics. Energy is conserved, always, without exception. The energy that powers your thoughts right now will still exist. 1 billion years from now, it will be transformed. It will take different forms, but it cannot be destroyed. Einstein understood this deeply. He said, "Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be changed from one form to another." This is science, verified, tested, proven, and it has profound implications for the existence of the soul. Let me take you deeper into Einstein's thinking. Einstein was fascinated by the philosopher Baruch Spinoza. In fact, Einstein called Spinoza the greatest of modern philosophers. And the reason was simple. Spinoza was the first philosopher to deal with the soul and the body as one thing, not two separate things. Spinoza lived in the 1600s. He was excommunicated from the Jewish community of Amsterdam for his radical ideas. He argued that God and nature were the same thing, that the physical world and the spiritual world were not separate realms, but different aspects of one unified reality. Einstein found this idea scientifically compelling. He wrote that he was fascinated by Spinoza's pantheism. He admired Spinoza because he treated soul and body as one, not two. In his own words, Einstein said, "I am fascinated by Spinoza's pantheism, but admire even more his contributions to modern thought, because he is the first philosopher to deal with the soul and the body as one, not two separate things." Why did Einstein find this so important? Because it solved a problem that had plagued philosophy for centuries. If the soul is completely different from the body, how do they interact? How does an immaterial soul move a physical arm? How does a physical brain create immaterial thoughts? These questions had never been answered satisfactorily. Philosophers had proposed various solutions, none of them convincing. But if soul and body are not separate things at all, if they are simply two perspectives on the same reality, then there is no interaction problem. The question dissolves. Einstein found this elegant. It fit with his scientific intuition that the universe should be unified, not divided into incompatible realms. This is crucial. Einstein did not believe in a soul that floats above the body, like a ghost. He did not believe in a spiritual substance that is separate from the physical world. Einstein believed that what we call the soul and what we call the body are simply two perspectives on the same underlying reality. Think of it this way. When you look at a quarter from above, you see a circle. When you look at it from the side, you see a thin line. The circle and the line seem like completely different things, but they are both the same quarter, viewed from different angles. Einstein believed that the soul and body work in a similar way. When you look at a human being from the outside, from the perspective of physics and chemistry, you see a body. When you look at that same human being from the inside, from the perspective of experience and consciousness, you see a soul. But they are not two separate things. They are one thing, perceived in two different ways. This is why Einstein could say that the soul is real. While also being a rigorous scientist, he wasn't making some mystical claim. He was making a philosophical and physical claim. about the nature of perception and reality. Now, let's dive even deeper. In 1950, Einstein wrote one of his most important letters about the nature of consciousness and identity. It was a letter that would be quoted for decades after his death. He wrote, "A human being is a part of the whole, called by us, universe, a part limited in time and space. He experiences himself, his thoughts and feeling, as something separated from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his consciousness. This delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons nearest to us. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion, to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty." This letter appeared in the New York Times on March 29, 1972. It has been called one of the most profound statements about consciousness ever made by a scientist. So, what is Einstein really saying here? He is saying that your sense of being a separate individual, isolated from the rest of the universe, is an illusion, a delusion of consciousness. You feel like you are in here, and the world is out there. You feel like your soul is trapped inside your body, separate from everything else. But this separation is not real. It's a trick of perception. In reality, Einstein says, you are a part of the whole. Your soul is not separate from the universe. Your consciousness is not isolated inside your skull. You are connected to everything that exists. You are part of the fabric of reality itself. This is not New Age mysticism. This is Einstein, the most rigorous scientific mind of the 20th century, telling us that our sense of separation is an optical delusion, and this has profound implications for what happens when you die. If you are truly separate from the universe, then when your body dies, you end. Your soul, whatever it is, and is trapped inside your body and perishes with it. But if you are part of the whole, if your separation is just an illusion, then death does not end you. It changes you. It transforms you. But the energy that is you, the pattern that is you, the consciousness that is you, returns to the whole, from which it was never really separate in the first place. You were always part of the universe. You will always be part of the universe. Death is not an ending. It is a transformation. This is what Einstein's physics tells us. Now, let me share with you something that connects Einstein's ideas to the cutting edge of modern physics. Einstein spent the last 30 years of his life trying to develop what he called a unified field theory. He wanted to find a single equation that would explain all the forces of nature: gravity, electromagnetism, the nuclear forces. He believed that underneath the apparent diversity of the universe, there was a fundamental unity. He never completed this theory. It remained unfinished at his death. But his intuition was correct. Modern physics has shown that, at the deepest level, everything is connected. Everything is one. David Bohm, a physicist who worked closely with Einstein, developed these ideas further. He proposed that the universe has what he called an implicate order, a deeper layer of undivided wholeness from which the visible world unfolds. Bohm spent years working at Princeton with Einstein before Einstein's death. They discussed these deep questions about the nature of reality, and after Einstein died, Bohm continued to develop the philosophical implications of quantum physics. Bohm argued that what we call matter is actually frozen light. Literally, the particles that make up your body are excitations in quantum fields, which are fundamentally made of the same stuff as light. You are, in a very real sense, made of light that has been slowed down and condensed into form. And consciousness, in Bohm's view, is also part of this deeper reality. It's not something separate from matter, generated by the brain, like smoke from a fire. It's a fundamental aspect of the universe itself, woven into the fabric of existence, at the deepest level. In Bohm's view, the separation we see between objects, between people, between souls, is superficial. At a deeper level, everything is folded together into a unity. The universe is like a hologram where every part contains information about the whole. This is exactly what Einstein sensed when he said that our separation is an optical delusion. At the deepest level of reality, there are no separate souls. There is one unified field of existence, and what we call individual souls are temporary patterns in that field. But here is the beautiful part. Those patterns are real. Your soul is a real configuration of energy. Your consciousness is a real phenomenon. And because energy is conserved, because the fundamental stuff of the universe cannot be destroyed, and your soul, in some form, will exist forever. It will not exist as a separate ghost floating in space. Einstein did not believe in that kind of immortality, but it will exist as part of the eternal dance of energy. That makes up the universe. Let me put this another way. Right now, the atoms that make up your body have been part of stars. They have been part of planets. They have been part of other living things. The carbon in your bones was forged in the heart of a dying star billions of years ago. The iron in your blood came from ancient supernovae. Scientists have traced the history of individual atoms. They estimate that in your body right now, there are atoms that were once part of Shakespeare, atoms that were once part of Cleopatra, atoms that were once part of dinosaurs and flowers and ancient oceans. The universe recycles everything. Nothing is lost. Nothing is created from nothing. Everything is transformed. You are made of stardust, literally, scientifically. This isn't poetry. This is physics. And if the matter of your body has this incredible history, stretching back billions of years, why would the energy of your consciousness be any different? The energy that powers your thoughts is equally ancient. It has been part of this universe since the very beginning, and it will continue to be part of this universe until the end. And the energy that powers your consciousness, the energy that creates your thoughts and feelings and sense of self, that energy is equally ancient. It has existed since the beginning of the universe. It will exist until the end of the universe, and even after the end. In whatever form the universe takes next, that energy will continue. Your soul is real because energy is real. Your soul is eternal because energy is eternal. This is Einstein's scientific proof now. I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking that this isn't what you mean by soul. You want personal immortality. You want to continue as yourself, with your memories and your personality, in some kind of heaven or afterlife. Einstein was honest about this. He did not believe in that kind of immortality. He wrote, "I cannot believe that the individual survives the death of his body, although feeble souls harbor such thoughts through fear or ridiculous egotisms." This statement might seem harsh, but Einstein was being honest. He did not believe that your personal consciousness, your ego, your sense of being you, survives the death of your body unchanged. But he also did not believe that you simply cease to exist. What he believed was more subtle. The energy that is you continues. The patterns that make you influence what comes after. Your impact on the world. Your influence on others. The ripples you created in the fabric of reality. These are permanent. You are like a wave in the ocean. The wave has a shape. It has a pattern. It moves and changes, and eventually crashes on the shore. But the water that made the wave does not disappear. It returns to the ocean. It becomes part of other waves. Your soul is like that wave. It is real. It is you. But it is also part of something much larger. And when the wave crashes, the water, the energy, the fundamental stuff of your being returns to the ocean of existence. This is not annihilation. This is transformation. This is the scientific truth about the soul that Einstein discovered. Einstein also believed that this understanding should change how we live. Remember his letter about the optical delusion of separation. He said that our task is to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty. If we are all part of the same unified field, then compassion is not just a nice idea. It is a recognition of reality. When you hurt another being, you are hurting yourself, because at the deepest level, there is no separation. When you help another being, you are helping yourself. Einstein saw his physics as having ethical implications, understanding that we are all connected, that we are all manifestations of the same underlying reality, should make us kinder, more compassionate, more aware of our responsibility to each other and to the world. This is the spiritual dimension of Einstein's science. Not religion in the traditional sense, not belief in a personal God who intervenes in human affairs, but a deep sense of connection to the whole, a recognition that we are part of something vast and beautiful and eternal. Einstein called this cosmic religious feeling. He wrote about it throughout his life. He said that this feeling, this sense of awe before the universe, was the source of all true science and all true art. Now, if you have found value in understanding Einstein's perspective on the soul, if his ideas have made you think differently about your own existence, I want to ask you something. This channel exists to explore the deepest questions that humans face, questions about life, death, consciousness, and the nature of reality. When you support this channel through Super Thanks, you help spread these profound ideas to more people who need to hear them. You are saying that deep thinking matters, that the big questions deserve to be asked. If Einstein's understanding of the soul has touched you tonight, consider showing your support. Let me bring this to a close with one final thought. Einstein gave us a scientific framework for understanding the soul, not a religious framework, not a mystical framework, a scientific one. Your soul is real because energy is real. Your soul is eternal because energy is eternal. Your soul is connected to everything because the universe is one unified field. Your sense of being separate is an illusion, a trick of perception, an optical delusion of consciousness. Think about what this means for how you live your life. If your soul is energy, then everything you do has an effect on the universe. Every thought you think creates ripples in the field. Every act of kindness or cruelty sends waves through the fabric of existence. You are not isolated. You are connected to everything. And everything you do matters. If your soul is eternal, then this life is not all there is, not in the religious sense of going to heaven or hell, but in the scientific sense that the energy that is you will continue to exist, transformed but never destroyed, for all eternity. What you do now echoes forever. If you are connected to everything, then the boundaries between self and other are not as solid as they seem. Hurting another being hurts yourself. Helping another being helps yourself. Compassion is not just morally good, it is scientifically accurate, but the pattern that is you, the unique configuration of energy that makes you who you are. That pattern is real. It exists right now. It will influence the universe forever, and the energy that creates it will continue, transformed but never destroyed, for all eternity. This is not what religion teaches about the soul. It is both more humble and more profound. It does not promise you a heaven where you will live forever as yourself, but it promises something that might be even more beautiful. It promises that you are part of something infinite, that you have always been part of it and always will be, that the boundaries of your body and the limits of your lifetime are illusions, that at the deepest level, you are the universe experiencing itself. Einstein spent his life studying the laws that govern reality, and what he found was not a cold, meaningless machine. He found order, he found beauty, he found a harmony so perfect that it filled him with awe. He once said, "The most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true art and all science. He who can no longer pause to wonder and stand wrapped in awe is as good as dead." His eyes are closed. Einstein kept his eyes open until the very end. He never stopped wondering. He never stopped asking questions. And what he discovered about the nature of the soul was not the end of his inquiry, but the beginning of a deeper mystery. He said, "Everyone who is seriously involved in the pursuit of science becomes convinced that a spirit is manifest in the laws of the universe, a spirit vastly superior to that of man, and one in the face of which we, with our modest powers, must feel humble." Einstein found the soul in physics. He found the spiritual in the scientific. He showed us that these are not opposites, but different perspectives on the same magnificent reality. Your soul is real. Einstein proved it, and that proof is written in the very equations that describe the universe. Thank you for joining me on this profound journey tonight. I want to hear from you now. Does Einstein's scientific view of the soul resonate with you? Does it change how you see yourself and your place in the universe? Or do you prefer a more traditional view of the soul, as something separate from the physical world? There is no wrong answer. Both perspectives have their wisdom. I want to know what you think. Leave a comment below with your honest thoughts. I read every single comment, and I respond to as many as I can in the first few hours after posting. If this video made you see your soul differently, share it with someone who might need to hear it. Someone who is struggling with questions about death and existence. Someone who wonders if there is more to life than what we can see and touch. Einstein's ideas have helped millions of people find meaning in a scientific worldview. Perhaps they can help someone you love. And if you want to continue exploring these profound questions with me, subscribe and turn on notifications, because next time, we are going to explore something even more mysterious. Something that Einstein spent his entire life trying to understand. Until then, remember what Einstein taught us. You are not a body that has a soul. You are energy that temporarily appears as a body. And that energy, the fundamental stuff of your being, is eternal. Einstein knew this and he proved it. And now, so do you.